We're in the top of the ninth, leading 10-7. Bases loaded, 2 down. And Rick Vaughn has come on to try and nail it down against Felipe Aguilar, a dangerous right-handed batter. Here's the pitch. Oh, shit.
You know, Bob Uecker was not a Hall of Famer in the sense that he was a great physical talent in baseball. He was a backup catcher. But where he lacked the gifts to excel in baseball, he excelled in making fun of himself. He excelled in having a natural ability and talent for comedy, a timing for comedy. And he proved to be outside of baseball. When I say outside of baseball, I mean outside of the field, a larger than life talent as a broadcaster for many years with the Milwaukee Brewers. And ultimately, he broke into the entertainment industry, making appearances in commercials, movies, most notably major leagues. As a matter of fact, he's probably best known for this line right here.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Ball 4. Ball 8. Low, and Vaughn has walked the bases loaded on 12 straight pitches.
Just a bit outside. I remember watching, what was that movie called? I think it was called Beer League back in 2006. I remember Artie Lang, at the beginning of the movie, was using his Bob Uecker broadcasting voice to cover an imaginary game. And but anyway, I just remember during that time period, the late 80s and 90s, a lot of people would, whenever they were imitating a broadcaster, they would often use the cadence of Bob Uecker. If they weren't doing Vince Scully, they were doing Bob Uecker. But anyway, Bob Uecker, a baseball icon, television and movie funny man, and Hall of Fame Milwaukee Brewer radio announcer, passed away today at the age of 90, following what is being called a private battle with small cell lung cancer. A statement from the team, Milwaukee Brewers, said, "Bob was the light of the Brewers, the soundtrack of our summers, the laughter in our hearts, and his passing is a profound loss. He was the heart and soul of Wisconsin and a dear friend. Bob loved people. His presence warmed every room, and he had a way of welcoming all of us into his world as if we were lifelong friends." Known affectionately as Mr. Baseball, Uecker hit just .200 for his career and played only 6 seasons, yet his infectious personality made him a valued teammate in the clubhouse, even if he wasn't contributing much on the field. Despite all the jokes about his playing career, Uecker was a member of the St. Louis Cardinals, a team led by Hall of Fame pitcher Bob Gibson that won the World Series back in 1964. And Uecker reached the majors in 1962 as a 28-year-old rookie catcher with his hometown Milwaukee Braves. He played 2 seasons in Milwaukee before being traded to the Cardinals in 1964. He was traded twice more before his career ended, to the Philadelphia Phillies in '65, and then back to the Braves, who by then had moved to the Atlanta area. Over 843 plate appearances in 6 seasons, Uecker hit .200 with a .293 on-base percentage and a .287 slugging percentage with 14 home runs and 74 RBI. While offense wasn't his strong suit, he wasn't very good defensively either. In 1967, he led the National League in both passed balls, 27, and errors by a catcher, 11. To be fair, the frequent battery mate on that Braves team was knuckleballer Phil Niekro, who provided the basis for one of Uecker's many memorable quotes. When asked the secret to catching a knuckleball, Uecker replied matter-of-factly, "I wait until it stops rolling and go pick it up." Not long after his playing career ended, Uecker joined the Brewers radio broadcast team, where his folksy style and self-deprecating humor made him an almost instant hit with fans. The 2024 season marked Uecker's 54th as a Brewers broadcaster. Uecker became known to millions more from his appearances on NBC's Tonight Show with host Johnny Carson. Starting in 1971, he appeared approximately 100 times as a guest on the legendary Carson Show, frequently cracking up Carson with his deadpan delivery. Sporting goods companies would pay me not to endorse their products, he once quipped. Uecker's popularity helped land him a starring role in the situation comedy Mr. Belvedere. Uecker played the role of sports writer and family patriarch George Owens on the show, which ran on ABC television from 1985 to 1990. Uecker's personality also made him a perfect pitchman in a series of immensely popular beer commercials for Miller Lite starting in the 1980s. Among the ad stable of current and former sports stars, Uecker stood out for his comedic timing and his ability to deliver iconic lines. Perhaps the most famous one came when he's seen at a ballpark watching a baseball game. When an usher comes along and asks him to move out of his seat, Uecker exclaims excitedly, "I must be in the front row." However, he turns out to be not quite as important as he thinks and finds himself in perhaps the worst seat in the stadium, far away from the action. As a result, a new term for the so-called nosebleed section of the stadium was born, Uecker seats. And Uecker was cast as baseball play-by-play announcer Harry Doyle in the 1989 movie Major League, giving an over-the-top performance that was largely ad-libbed. Among his memorable lines, Haywood crushes one towards South America. And after an incredibly wild pitch that was all but impossible for the catcher to grab, just a bit outside. Uecker was so popular in that role that he returned 5 years later to reprise the role in 1994's Major League 2 and again in 1998's Major League Back to the Minors. The best one was the first one, where Wesley Snipes played Willie Mays Hayes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Omar Epps, but the first one was the best one. In addition to many television guest appearances and voiceover cameos as himself, Uecker hosted a syndicated sports blooper show called Bob Uecker's Wacky World of Sports that ran from 1985 to 1996. Another show he hosted was called Bob Uecker's War of the Stars. And once again, Brewers legend, and comedy star. I mean, I gotta put it like that. He was a unique personality. Bob Uecker passes away at the age of 90. May he rest in peace.